One of the things I wanted to talk about today is something that I see each and every day with my clients, and it's fatigue. Patients are coming in and feeling utterly exhausted. And what's interesting is that people actually aren't aware of how tired they are. It's only through really looking at the body signs and symptoms that we can appreciate the degree of fatigue. So, how do you know if your body is suffering with fatigue? So if you get a little torch and look in the mirror and just shine the torch across your eye, what you should see is your pupil contract and stay contracted. But when the body or the nervous system is really exhausted, that pupil it initially contracts, but the nervous system is so tired that it can't keep that contraction. So you see the pupil do this again. So it looks like this side, these sorts of in and out, almost like a pulsing. And that's one sign that there's real deep fatigue within the nervous system. Another sign is to look at your tongue. So if the tongue, when you stick it out, is quivering like crazy, and you can still see teeth marks at the side, it shows that your electrolytes are out of balance. Mainly magnesium, actually, that's one of the key electrolytes and really important minerals for the nervous system. And it also shows dehydration. Another sign of just utter exhaustion is what happens when you actually stop. So I say to my clients, and what do you do to relax? What do you do to rest? And many don't know the meaning of that word. They're just always doing something, always on the go. Or their idea of relaxing is picking up their phone and checking through Facebook. So relaxation means no external output. You know, the whole nervous system has to really rest. So we need to reduce noise, stimulation, visual stimuli in particular, and electronics. So when you actually stop, what happens? So some people say, oh, if I stop, I just fall asleep. Or I can't get motivated if I slow down. Well, that is a sign of utter exhaustion. So if you typically rate your energy out of 10 as like a 9, or 8 out of 10, and it's really good, that's great. But what's your energy like when you stop? So some people say, oh, no, I'm like a 2, 3 out of 10. Well, that's a sign that you actually do need to stop. You are exhausted. So these are some ways that we can beat fatigue naturally. So what you find is when you're starting to feel exhausted, you'll reach for something to give you a perk. And that could be sugar, it could be caffeine, it could be cigarettes. And they are stimuli. It's something that's trying to G you up almost. So really one of the things is to try to get off that blood sugar roller coaster. And we can do this a number of ways. So eating every 3 to 4 hours does keep the blood sugar stable. It's not something that we want to keep doing really. It's to start to break a pattern. So eating something every 3 to 4 hours. And actually that gives you the fuel that you need to support your blood sugar. Those meals should contain good quality protein. So protein, from the protein we build our amino acids, and those amino acids help to build hormones and mood chemicals, and generally rebuild the body and support the immune system. They're released much slower in the body, so they'll act as good fuel. And also think of foods that are low glycemic index. So what that means is if you're eating white bread, it releases its sugar very, very quickly. Whereas if we're eating a low glycemic food such as quinoa or brown rice, it's far more slow releasing and will provide energy over a longer period of time. So think of a roller coaster. The ones that release their energy quickly get you to the top of the roller coaster. And that's things like white bread, pasta, cake, sugary things. But if you're at the top of a roller coaster, there's only one way you can go. And obviously your blood sugar will crash. Other things at the top of the blood sugar roller coaster are caffeine and sugar. So you'll find that you're reaching for chocolate, 3, 4 p.m., cup of tea, some coffee, maybe a cake just before school pickup. So to try to get you halfway down the roller coaster and keep your blood sugar more stable, we've got the protein, we've got good quality fats, we're stopping the sugar, Fasting, I know I've just said eat every 3 to 4 hours, but fasting actually is excellent at supporting blood sugar. And intermittent fasting means there's a big window where you're not consuming food. So there's an 18-hour window where you're not consuming food, and then the rest of the time you're eating your meals in a more compact window. That works really well for stabilizing blood sugar as well. Other things to beat stress and fatigue naturally is exercise. Keep your body moving. If it becomes stagnant, there's no flow. You know, our blood is living. I do live blood microscopy. We can see that the blood is moving around freely. You can see the interaction between the cells. It's absolutely fascinating. But if you are stagnant, everything starts to slow down. So just a quick walk, 10 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day will just keep your body moving. Especially think about the hips area. This hips is the seat of our energy. So swinging the hips, swinging the arms, and keep the body circulating, and move the spine. So I actually stand up in the middle of a consultation with people and say, right, follow me. and actually body twist. So stopping the traffic, we call this one. Rolling your arms up and rolling all the way down to touch your toes is a good one. And then heel bounces. That's where you're just stood still and then just the heels are raising up and down. That is amazing. When I'm lecturing for the CNM, I get the whole class doing cross crawl, which is a whole series of exercises. There's elbows and legs flailing everywhere, but it's great fun and it gets the blood moving. It gets you feeling out of breath, so you're oxygenating the body. And it's establishing flow again, and people feel more alert, more awake. Always good in a lecture, I find. Another thing that can help to reduce fatigue is proper, good quality sleep. But what I find is when I ask people about their bedroom situation, they've got electronics in there. So it could be they've got a mobile phone charging next to the bed, a radio-controlled alarm clock. They may have dimmer switches. Their entire bedroom may be above all the electronics downstairs, so the TV and Wi-Fi. So we need to reduce all of this because the nervous system, it's electrical. So if you're trying to rest and have deep quality sleep, but you've got devices that are stimulating, you know, the nervous system will start vibrating like this instead of like this. Yeah, there's a real difference. So cut the electronics in the bedroom, switch everything off downstairs, switch off the Wi-Fi at night, and make sure the bedroom is dark. So no night lights, and an eye mask if you can, or even blackout blinds work really well. I mean, I personally, it's really attractive, I must say, use an eye mask and earplugs because you don't want to be able to see or hear the children. It doesn't sound great, does it? Somehow I can still always hear the children. But by diminishing as much stimuli as possible, the body can go into a restful state. Now you can set up your sleep pattern by doing things like Epsom salt baths or bathing in a mix of, I'd probably use something like milk, then put your essential oils into there. So lavender's amazing, and then put that into the bath. And that mixes much better with the water because obviously oil and water don't mix. But it's very calming, very relaxing, and the warm water allows for dilation of the blood vessels and allows the body to go into the parasympathetic state, which is our rest and digest, rather than the sympathetic, which is our fight or flight. And also for calming the nervous system and helping to beat fatigue, I'd suggest the quality of your water is really important as well. So in something like a large water like that, if you add a teaspoon of Sole, that can work really well. That is your Himalayan crystal rock salt. And you make this up at home. So just grab a jar. I've not got any here to show you, but grab a jar. Third, fill it with the pink salt, top it up with good quality water. And then each day take a teaspoon of that liquid and put it into that large bottle of water. And that actually will provide all the electrolytes that your nervous system needs to actually communicate properly. Otherwise, the nerves are kind of firing off and they just can't talk to each other effectively. You've got all these dendrites that need to fire a message across the synapse, which is fluid and it's got these minerals in there. And if that isn't working properly, then the messages are getting mixed. So I would hydrate with good quality water, but we also need to hydrate with fats. So your food needs to be rich in essential fatty acids, which is things like your salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardine, herring. That's the acronym SMASH, by the way. And then avocados, olives, coconuts and coconut oil. And these fats, they're helping this myelin sheath, which is around the nerves. So again, it helps them to communicate better. But also we want to think about things that could aggravate the nerves. So it's avoiding those stimulating drinks instead. So the water with the Sole is effective. So we've said 4 ways to beat fatigue naturally. So it's balancing your blood sugar, eating every few hours and make sure there's enough protein there. It's moving your body to enhance oxygenation of the tissues. It's improving your sleep by removing electronic distractions, and it's increasing your water intake and ensuring that the water is properly hydrating to the body. So I hope these tips help you, and I hope you have a very restful and energizing weekend.